sige. So let's now flash in our advanced questions, calling in Sir Melvin and Sir Marvin. So we can start answering the questions here. Okay, so I think we can focus here in the portion of the Pax Silica. I think we saw a lot of questions here in the chat, no? So on the lower right portion, what is COL's long-term view on Pax Silica and how could it influence the country's economy over the next 5 to 10 years beyond tech? Which industries stand to benefit the most from this transformation? Siguro, Sir Melvin, would you like to share your insight? Then Sir Marvin afterwards.
Yung pakili ka. Nalala ko yung interview sa Facebook eh. Hindi ko na sabihin ko ano yan. Anyway, hindi, ang problem mo kasi sa Pax Silica, wala pa naman tayong details. We just know that there's a plan and they're gonna do it in the new Clark City. We don't even know ano yung detail. We don't even know who's participating and so on and so forth. Ano yung involvement natin other than the location, di ba? But and how are we gonna benefit from it? So lahat yun wala eh. But syempre, all things being equal, syempre, like all data centers, ang pinaka number one na complaint ng ano no ng mga cities na sa US is yung ang laki ng consumption ng electricity tsaka ng water, no? So, kung ako talaga tatanungin nyo, kung ako yung ibang bansa, hindi ko maisip na gagawin ko sa Pilipinas eh. Kasi kuryente natin eh. So bakit natin gagawin sa Pilipinas? Eh, mahal-mahal ng kuryente dito, right? So sa akin, it's all just talk now. Personally, I won't even be bothered by it too much. Kasi nga, wala pa naman anything, wala pa naman details. Eh. Kung mangyari yan, I think, siguro at least 3, 4 years from now pa at the earliest. Ah. So sa akin, don't mind it too much. It's just a noise now. Personally, I don't think na it will it's right to evaluate it at this point kasi wala pang details.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Wala pa eh. Kwento pa lang eh, no? So they say the mining industry, it can also affect jobs, pero until we see the finer details, siguro we'll reserve our comments muna. But hopefully, good for the country, sana. We'll see. Sige, next.
Okay, sige.
Another
Next question sa left side here. Your outlook remains constructive on bonds despite the possibility of high interest rates for the next few years. What gives you confidence in maintaining fixed income exposure, and what role do bonds play if the Fed stays hawkish? Sir Marvin?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, the bonds will give you good yield. Yung binigay ko sa inyong dalawang funds na yon, it gives you a yield of about 5 to 6% net. You will not get that kundi mataas ang interest rates. So, I think that's really beneficial for us. And then, mababa pa yung niya, yung volatility, meaning the risk. Kahit na bumagsak ang stock market, you still earn on the fixed income. So, it gives you a balancing play as well as the yield. So, yung high interest rate possibility increase of interest rate, parang konti na lang yata yun eh. It's just a few more from where we are now. We think even interest rates may even go down in next year. So, it's an opportunity for you to continue benefiting for high yield.
Okay, so for the next one, I'll combine the second question on the left and the question on the upper right. So emerging markets, especially China, have experienced significant volatility due to war effects and the tech correction. Are we nearing a bottom or do you expect further weakness? Sir Melvin, what do you think?
Sorry, may binabasa akong question.
Okay, so yung question, Sir Melvin, regarding emerging markets and China, yung volatility effects of the war, do you think we're nearing tech correction or nearing a bottom, or do you expect further weakness?
Yung war, feeling ko, hindi pa siya matatapos. Feeling ko, it will be here easily until October. So, ang key pivot niyan kasi is it should end by November. That's the idea. That's the ideal that the US government is pushing. Now, ang point ko kasi, regardless if there's a war or not, always remember, in any crisis, there's always danger, but there's always opportunity. So, kung problemahin kung may gera o wala, ang problemahin mo, now that you know na nag-exist yan, how can you best position yourself? Kaya nga, sa totoo lang, maraming investment principles that I personally do not follow. Yung lalagay mo lang, tapos kakalimutan mo na. I don't do that. I'm always very conscious on what's happening. So sa akin, I'm a long-term investor. So don't get me wrong, hindi ako yung matrade. But ang point doon is, pag may ba yung ihip na talaga ng hangin, you have to also change your strategy. So you have to reevaluate from time to time your strategy. So kung ako yung tatanungin nyo, so sabi ko kanina, di ba, if you look at what's happening now, ang gulo-gulo ng gera ngayon, right? But there's an emerging, it turns out that because of this war, dito natin nakita lalo how resilient China is. So hindi ba sobrang gandang insight yan that 'di ba? Despite this war, they're still there and they're still doing well. So maybe it's about time that you start rethinking about China. Now, sometimes China always get a bad connotation eh. Every time pag narinig yung China, parang ano yan, parang not okay na country yan, masamang tao yan, blah blah blah. But remember this. Regardless kung ano man ang perception nyo kay China, good or bad, isa lang naman ang objective nyo, right? Ang objective nyo is for your fund or your investment to do well, right? So, why are you using your emotion to decide on your investment? So, gamitin mo yung saan siya pinakamalaking opportunity. Kung feeling mo na hindi siya okay, pero doon ka malaking kikitain, di ba, doon pa rin kayo papasok? So, ganun ang view ko. There's no love lost between me and China. I don't really love China as a country, but as an investment opportunity, I can see na sobrang laki ng opportunity doon, right? Now, Carlo, can I just answer this question in the chat
Yes.
group? Kasi I think it's
Yes, sir.
very relevant.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Sabi dito, thank you very much for the presentation. You mentioned that funds provide great access to these asset classes. So I would assume na yung presentation ni Marvin kanina. But it also carries ongoing management and administrative fee that is embedded in the value of the fund. From a strategic perspective, at what capital size or risk portfolio does make more sense for an investor to transition from pooled funds to building a portfolio to individual stocks, bonds, and money market instrument directly? So I've been in the investment world for the longest time. And in my last stint, I was the wealth management specialist head for a bank in the Philippines, one of the biggest foreign bank in the Philippines. And we manage billions of money. And ako mismo, okay, sabihin ko sa inyo, if you look at my entire portfolio, if you look at my Philippine stocks, I have Philippine stocks. I buy the individual stocks kasi I have access. I understand the companies and so on. Now, alam ko ba basahin yung mga foreign companies? Yes. Alam ko yung financials ni Nvidia, etc. etc. Ano yung difference? Ba sila nagte-trade? Gabi sila nagte-trade eh. So even if I understand it, even if I know how to trade it, I will not use my time to trade it. Kasi they're in the opposite time horizon as we are, time zone as we are. So yes, nakatipid ka nga, dumami pera mo, may hypertension ka naman kasi hindi ka na natutulog. Right? So always remember this. Why is it that pag may sakit ka, you go to a doctor? In fact, you get the best doctor. Pag may legal problem ka, you get the best lawyer and most likely the most expensive one. But why is it that when it comes to investment, you self-medicate para makatipid ka ng konti? Can you just imagine, Das, kung meron kang appendicitis, pumunta ka sa Mercury Drug, bumili ka ng scalpel, hiniwa mo na lang sarili mo kasi mas mura. Tama ba yun? Mali, di ba? So, if you are not in this field of investment, bakit bakit mo naisip that you will be able to outperform people who do this for a living? Di ba? Pay for the expertise. If you look at all my global investments, not one is in a direct stock. All are funds. Even my China is in a fund. Bakit? Marunong ka ba magbasa ng Chinese character? Ako, Chinese ako, pero hindi ako marunong magbasa. Correct? So use other people's expertise to benefit you, to benefit your portfolio. Di ba? Apply the principle of hiring expert. So yun lang. I think this question is so important kasi I'm always asked this question eh. Okay? So I hope that was helpful.
Yes, agree, Sir Melvin. So it's really capitalizing on the expertise, no, of someone like yung mga fund managers through the funds available in FundSource. So for the next question, I think this one can be answered by Sir Marvin, no, to expound on the Philippines side. So given the current global and local developments, how stable is the Philippine economy and what risk should investors watch?
Unfortunately, the Philippine economy is kind of suffering right now simply because of the underspending of the government, yung corruption, yung scandal, and then of course, may weakening yung sa taas ng inflation natin and oil price is still affecting consumer spending. So that is what's happening in the Philippines. So when you invest naman, the risk involved is really the El Nino pa, di ba? Umuulan na, tapos mag-El Nino pa. So that is the something that we will be facing. But that is the economy, no? Ang importante dyan, you can choose, there are still pockets of opportunity in the Philippines. Yung sa stock market, titingnan mo, PSEI, hindi siya maganda. But if you look some individual stocks, may maganda kumikita dyan. That's why it's very important to be actively investing in stocks, choosing. That's why I was proposing, yung meron na tayong fund na yan na CSG, na Strategic Growth. Kami namimili for you. So yun yung importante dyan. So given the global and local developments, I think Philippines still continues to be a strategic investment for a lot of investors.
Okay, thanks, Sir Marvin. I think we can proceed with the next set of questions. Okay, questions on tech and AI. Yeah, I'll focus na lang on the most relevant. I guess yung second on the lower right, many investors know NVIDIA, but not the broader AI supply chain. Which fund is best positioned to capture this opportunity? Asia Best, Global Tech, or dedicated semiconductor fund? What are the trade-offs? I think Sir Marvin, you can expound on the type of fund, and then Sir Melvin can expound on the outlook.
Yeah. Yung Asia Best Select, I think that's the one we really recommend, no? Kasi pinipili niya talaga yung best eh. Yung semiconductor fund, it is also good, kaya lang it is very volatile. It is also very interesting fund. Meron din tayo niyan. Mas volatile lang siya. May mga trade-off. Yung global tech din, volatile yan. So, ang trade-off niya, mas volatile yung fund niya. But in the best position, we think will rise is the Asia Best Select for us.
Okay. Sir Melvin, would you like to expound on the volatility race about the AI bubble and how does it compare with the dot-com era?
Yeah, so yung sa .com kasi, so just to give you an idea, naabutan ko yun. Matanda na ako nun. Okay, so ganito. Anong pinaka-biggest difference? Number one, a lot of the companies during that time are new. In fact, Amazon that time was actually very new. No? And in fact, Amazon almost went bankrupt. Yung price niya talagang collapse. But financial-wise, they are fine. They are fine. So that's why they were able to weather it. The biggest problem kasi is not the buying eh. The biggest problem always is what to buy. So that time, ang daming mga stock na lumalabas, basta meron lang .com sa dulo, feeling na nila that is already something worth buying. So, ang daming, hindi naman naloko, no? But ang daming sumunod lang doon sa craze. So, yun nga yung palagi ko sinasabi na ang problem kasi is the way you look at stocks and the way we analyze it is very, very different. I promise you, sobrang layo. I saw a comment kanina, sabi niya, you can post your order. But the question doon is, yes, you can post your order, but what will you order? You can post your sale, but what will you sell? When will you sell? 'Di ba? Do you even understand the companies? So maraming mga companies na sa totoo lang, maganda lang sa labas, pero pag tinignan mo yung financials, sobrang delikado na siya. So during the dot-com bubble, maraming ganun. Maraming yung tinatawag nilang ampaw. Ngayon, sa totoo lang, meron ba? Siguradong meron. Sigurado yon. Imposibleng mawala. But the biggest advantage ngayon, by far and large, mas marami yung honest to goodness na company. So you all know Microsoft, you all know Amazon, you all know Google, you all know Meta, you all know Tesla, di ba? So, yan, kitang-kita ninyo. May income sila, etc. etc. This, 3 days ago, I was examining yung financials ni Google. And Google, for the first time, may negative cash flow. So, sa totoo lang, free cash flow. So, medyo technical. Ayoko masyado mag-technical tayo dito. Basta, ang problem doon is, he's now spending more than what he's earning. Sa totoo lang, hindi malaki, maliit. But that for some people, that's an alarm bell. Sa akin, ang view ko kasi dyan ganito. If I am Google, why would I risk my entire company in something that I don't think will pay off in the future? And I'm Google eh. I probably can hire the most intelligent people to join my company eh. Diba? So I'm sure ngayon, tsaka dati, malayong malayo siya. So both valuation-wise and yung direction, it's very, very different. Okay? Now, if you really look at it, yung AI bubble, yung dot-com bubble was not wrong. In fact, anong sinabi dati? Bakit ba kayo nagka-hype dati? Because of the internet, correct? Guess what? Hindi ba kaya nga tayo nag-zoom ngayon kasi may internet? So it was not wrong. Masyado lang nauna. Masyadong nauna. Masyadong mabilis yung akyat niya. But we were not. The market was not wrong. The market was correct. That the internet will be the next best thing. So, anong difference ng AI tsaka ng dot-com bubble? Dati, kung nagkamali ka, si pet.com, wala kang kahit na anong asset. Ngayon, lahat ng ginagastos ng mga companies, ng mga hyperscalers, may asset yun. So, on a worst case, sabi ni Meta, it didn't work for me. Meron siyang data center. Meron siyang physical asset that he can now use for other purpose later on. Hindi siya katulad ng dot-com bubble na pag wala talaga. So, that's also one of the big difference. Okay? I hope I was able to answer that.
Thank you, Sir Melvin. So for the next one, this is related to Asia Best Select Funds, Sir Marvin. No? So lower left, Taiwan and South Korea have rallied strongly on AI demand. Do you still see upside or are valuations becoming stretched?
No, right now, if you look at the valuation of South Korea, 8 times, 9 times PE lang. And I think what's happening is, for as long as the AI spend will be there for the next couple of years, I think these companies will continue to see upside. But having said that, I'm sure it has run up very strong already, 100% in Korea, for example. May volatility yan. You expect it could to go down and up and down at a very high level, very volatile level. And I think you have to be prepared pag ano. But be aware na mukhang medyo this thing will still run for a next couple of years pa. For as long as the AI spend is there, I think Taiwan and South Korea will continue to do well.
Okay, so lots of interesting questions. We have more questions on the thematic ideas, so we can proceed. Okay, our team is flashing it here. So I think on the left side here, healthcare has been one of the more resilient sectors globally. Do you see opportunities in Philippine healthcare, or are investors still better off gaining exposure through global funds? Sir Melvin, would you like to expand on the healthcare side?
We go global. Kasi, honestly, I'm not an expert for the Philippine market, but I don't even know if we have one. I mean, is there a way? I don't know if Metro Pacific became no, I mean, was delisted. So I don't know if you can even participate in the Philippine healthcare. No, but I will always go on the global. Kasi remember, yung global, you're not investing in healthcare. You're investing in the technological advancement of the healthcare. 'Di ba? The development of new drugs, hindi yung hospital, yung new drugs. And sad to say, a lot of the companies are outside of the Philippines. So personally, my favorite is Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. No, it's not that I'm using it. But feeling ko talaga, yan talaga yung biggest potential in the future, yung obesity market. So I want to take advantage of that company. So yung sinasabi kanina ni Marvin na healthcare fund ni Manulife, the number one stock there is Eli Lilly. Now, I just also want to share this. The biggest advantage of CON is that we are a platform. We are a broker. So, if you will notice, yung kaninang presentation ni Marvin, you can see different companies, different funds from different companies. That's the biggest strength of CON. We have no loyalty with these companies. Our loyalty is to our clients. So we look at where our market, where the potential is. And pag nakita namin saan yung potential, that's where we choose the funds. It's not the other way around. Okay, so by using COL as your platform, our best assurance for you is that we're sharing this to you because this is really our view. Okay?
Okay, sige. So, ano lang, no, Sir Melvin, Sir Marvin, just want to acknowledge our participants from overseas. One comment here from Morocco. So, thank you for being one of our valued customer here. Sige, so next question here naman, in terms of the shift globally, in terms of supply chain. As supply chains continue to shift globally, which countries or regions, aside from the US and China, are best positioned to benefit, and how can investors gain exposure? Sir Marvin?
Yeah, yun na yan. Nasagot na natin kanina.
Yeah.
Those producing, basically Taiwan, Korea, which is Asia Best Select. That's the fund that we're looking at for you.
Okay. So yung
Yeah.
question ni Tom, I guess it's also related, and yung question ni Dennis, so we can go to the next one. So on portfolio strategy, sige, pilihan ko lang dito, no? So following the strong rally in AI and semis, how should investors decide whether to hold, add to, or rebalance their investments? What factors matter most before making portfolio changes? Sir Melvin, would you like to start here?
Yeah, so it's all a matter of what you already have. So meaning kung you're highly exposed on semiconductor and tech, you might want to diversify to the healthcare market. For me, that's a very good diversifier kasi almost opposite sila. No? And of course, I will always say add fixed income in your portfolio. Ang pinakamaganda sa fixed income is that the yield are so high now. And kung yung theory ko kanina is correct, you'll even do more or better because when interest rate goes down, the bond prices even goes up. So that's a very good way for you to re-expose. Now, if you need help, again, let me reiterate, just email us at wealth@col.com. Someone can sit down with you, review your portfolio, and give you proper advice on your situation, on your portfolio, on your requirement, on your goals. We can help you do that.
All right, thanks, Sir Melvin. So for the next question, Sir Marvin, on the upper right, and then the three questions on the left, I think we can combine this. So this is related more onto the portfolio model. So I'll read the third question on the left. So for someone building a diversified portfolio today, how would you allocate across global equities, bonds, and cash? Has your recommended asset allocation changed given today's market environment? So I think, Sir Marvin, you can expound on the portfolio model that you shared earlier.
Yeah, oo. For simplicity lang, diversified portfolio has been tested long term na to give you a stable and long-term growth. 60% equities, 40% bonds, fixed income. Yung sa 60% na yon, global and local equities. But now we favor more global equities. More particularly in the global funds, and even including China and Asia sa equity side. On the fixed income naman, we favor also global fixed income. The 40%. Kasi not only do you get coupon that will give you a high yield, meron pa tayong ano doon, yung foreign exchange gain. Di ba? Pagka humihina yung peso at bumili ka nitong global bond, dumadami yung ano mo eh. You benefit from the weakening peso. Nakita naman natin this year, malaki ng binaba ng peso eh. Meaning, nag-depreciate yung peso. Mas malaki yung kikitain mo if you're invested globally. So, that's one basic reason also. And we think that El Nino will affect us more than the other countries. So, a 60-40 portfolio. What has changed in the recommendation is we increased our global exposures, both on the equities and the bonds.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Marvin. Actually, our team is flashing and putting in the chat box also the access in our investment hub so they can see yung 60-40 na binabanggit ni Sir Marvin and yung mga funds that he mentioned. No? So I think we can proceed with the next set of questions since I consolidated the questions here. So for managing risk and volatility, okay, what is one investment risk that you think investors are worrying about too much and one that they may not be paying enough attention to in today's environment? So somehow medyo nasagot na Sir Melvin, but I think you can expound on the risk that you mentioned earlier in your slides.
Kasi ang pinaka-problem kasi is yung tinatawag natin na actually the biggest risk is biases eh. Your biggest risk is your bias. So when you talk about bias, yung sinasabi dito okay, one example of a bias yung tinatawag na confirmatory bias. So if you make a decision, so feeling mo maganda yung whatever, right? So you will always try to prove na maging maganda siya. So you will look for evidence na maganda siya. Minsan naman, yung biases na yon, kahit na feeling natin, kahit hindi na okay yung investment na yon, you tend to stick to it. Kasi nga, ang tawag naman doon, loss aversion bias. If say loss aversion bias, ayaw mong yung feeling na malulugi ka. So, feeling mo, pag binenta mo na siya, lugi ka na. But I have a bad news, guys. Regardless kung binenta mo yan o hindi, pag bumagsak yung investment mo, lugi ka na. Ganun kasimple yon. So, kaya very important na ang pinaka number one na kailangan mo palagi is make sure that every time you invest, you have to be, wag mong pairalin yung emotion mo. Palaging logic. Mahirap, kaya nga siya biggest risk, pero yung emotion mo, ang pinaka number one na kalaban mo. Okay? So yun para sa akin ang biggest risk na madalas hindi nakikita ng mga tao.
Okay, sige. So for the remaining questions here, I think nadaanan naman na natin siya kanina. So we can answer the live questions. So let me ask our moderators to flash in the live questions. So ang daming magandang questions, Sir Melvin, Sir Marvin, no? So at least majority of the most relevant we can answer live, while some of it answered by our analyst. Okay, question here. If the global economy is slowing down due to war effects, how are companies still expected to grow their earnings? Sir Marvin?
Yeah, marami naman opportunities dyan eh. Even if there's a war. The effects of the war, as you can see, we presented earlier, kami ni Melvin, we presented the earnings growth despite the war. People still earn money, more particularly tech-related, and those that are not that are not affected. So, meron silang mga global investments that give them return. They're expected to grow earnings still for even for next year, despite the war. We see that in different industries, even in healthcare, even in power, energy. So marami diyan.
Okay, sige. Next question, please. Thank you, Sir Marvin. Why is the talk heavily focused on the US and China? Is there no growth potential in other markets such as Europe, Africa, and South America? I think nadaanan din ni Sir Marvin and Sir Melvin yung other markets kanina, but I guess we can expound on the growth potential, Sir Melvin. What are the catalysts that you're seeing in other regions?
Okay, yung Europe kasi, siya ang pinaka most likely tatamaan nitong Ukraine-Russia war. Sorry, US-Iran war. So siya ang pinaka biggest casualty. Africa, actually malaki ang potential ng Africa. Ang problem lang sa Africa kasi is it's not a mature market. So yung access to the market is gonna be very hard. Now, bakit siya big hindrance? Kasi kung mahirapan ka pumasok sa market na yon, hindi ka makakakuha ng right information. So if you don't have the right information, hindi mo alam kung yung company na yon maganda o hindi. So that's the biggest limitation of Africa and some part of South America. So it's really more of a hindrance na hindi pa kasi mature yung markets na yon. Now, is the potential gonna be big? Definitely Africa is emerging. But kung ako talaga, hindi ko tinitingnan masyado yung potential. Binabalance ko kasi rin yun dun sa risk na makukuha ko. So, if I cannot control the risk, yan ang pinaka hindi ko gagawin. Okay lang sa akin to take high risk eh. Basta naiintindihan ko yung risk. Ang problema sa Africa at South America, hindi ko alam kung ano yung risk kasi I don't have access to the right information. It's really more on that one.
All right, thank you, Sir Melvin. We have 6 more questions. So thank you for staying to our 800 participants. So next question. Okay, you've been in this industry long enough to have seen the dot-com crash, the 2008 global financial crisis, COVID, and now the Iran war shock. Which one of those was actually the scariest for you personally? And what did you do differently as an investor because of it? Sir Marvin?
Nakakatawa to.
Sasagutin ko din yan
Sige, sige.
Matanda na tayo eh.
Okay,
Nadaanan na natin to, Melvin.com, global financial crisis close.
Vote kayo, Sir
Lahat tayo
Melvin, Sir
dinaanan.
Marvin.
We've seen the up and down. Ang scariest talaga syempre sa akin yung COVID eh. Kasi syempre, tinamaan din ako ng COVID eh. Nagka-COVID din tayo eh. European.com, wala naman masyado yung global financial crisis eh. Pero yung COVID, tinamaan tayo nun di ba? Yung Iran war, oil price lang ang effect sa atin. Pero yung COVID, yun ang medyo pinakamalaki. So that's actually the scariest for me personally. And what did I do differently? Siyempre, I stayed home. And then I built up emergency funds. Siyempre, when kailangan may emergency fund ka. But I continue to invest on a more diversified manner. So what I do differently is yun nga, meron ka dapat talaga more stable emergency fund as an investor. And then, meron kang diversified portfolio, tuloy pa rin yun. Tuloy pa rin. Thanks.
Sir Melvin?
So ako, ang pinaka-scariest, it's not here. My scariest is the Asian financial crisis. Because that was my very first time to to experience a crisis. And para maintindihan nyo yung difference ng Asian financial crisis sa dot-com bubble, sa GFC, sa COVID, yung stock market that time was at 3,400. It collapsed all the way down to 900. So it's just like saying na kahit na nag-all-time high yung Philippine market ng 10,000 or 9,000, naging less than 3,000. So talagang sobrang scary yon for someone who is so young that time. Okay? Now, the rest are all scary. But Simon, ito yung pinaka sasabihin ko, and I want to be upfront with you. I did very well in my investment in all of this crisis. In fact, of course, I will not tell you how much I made, but naalala ko yon yung Asian financial crisis. That was the first time that I realized how important global investing is. Kasi that time, the one that collapsed was Asia. And US did well. So doon ko na-realize that I cannot just put all my money in the Philippines. So that was the first time that started looking outside of the Philippines. So, ang lesson, lahat ng crisis, may lesson yan na matututunan mo. Ang question lang palagi is, will you take advantage of that lesson? In fact, lahat ng crisis, okay? Sabihin ko sa inyo ha, was a blessing to me. Ironic, even the COVID. The first time I bought a property was during the Asian financial crisis. The second time I bought my property was the 2008 global financial crisis. No? So even during COVID, I did very well in my personal investment. So lahat ng crisis, yes, lahat yan nakakatakot. But the truth is, lahat yan sobrang exciting. Lahat ng crisis, palagi niyong isipin, is a gift. Kung hindi nagkaka-crisis, wala kayong chance to earn extraordinarily. Kung hindi nagkakaroon ng ganitong crisis, can you just imagine the price of property today? Siguradong it's all out of reach. Okay? So, you think na nagkakaroon ng ganitong crisis. Okay? Not only that you should thank them, take advantage of them. Itong US and Iran war, this is an example of a crisis. Truth is, mababaw to compared to all the ones that you mentioned. But this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. Imagine with this crisis, with this US and Iran war, do you know that so far this year, the US stock market hit 20 times all-time high? That's an opportunity, right? And my assessment is, before end of the year, it will hit another all-time high. Okay? So crisis will always be there. Are you going to the danger side or are you going to the opportunity side? That's the bigger question.
All right, grabe no. I remember lang one conversation also with the business person, Sir Melvin, that I had. Sabi niya, there's always an opportunity in every crisis based on your experiences then and particularly Sir Marvin. No? So it's really having the right lens, knowing the right platform on how you can execute to participate globally despite of the challenges. Sige, next question here. We have few more from our participants. Okay, there was a slide where inflation of 4% can cut purchasing power in half over 18 years. Do you think about this when making your own financial decisions? And has it changed what you hold or how you save? Sige, Sir Melvin, you want to start here?
Okay. Sige, so in the recent years, okay, so since 2020 onwards, my most challenging year was not 2020. My most challenging year was 2022. Kasi I help ultra-affluent families eh. And ang pinaka commitment ko is I will not lose money. So, ako kasi ang philosophy ko, I always protect yung pera. So, bago ang return, I always protect yung risk side. So, 2022 was so challenging for me because almost all asset went down. Okay? At the end of the year, we still made 0.6%. Okay? Of course, may strategy kaming ginawa. Now, bakit ko kinikwento sa inyo nun? Kasi naalala mo yung 2022, what happened to inflation? Inflation shoot up so high that in the Philippines, it even went up to 10%. It's not even 4%, it's 10%. Right? So, may nagawa pa kami that year. Sa totoo lang, very little. But guess what? 2023, we did very well. In fact, we did close to 14%. And again, hindi ganun kalaki equity namin kasi nga we're managing risk. But despite that, we did 14%. Bakit? Kasi ano sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina? In any of these crises, there's always opportunity. Yung mga inflation na yan, 4%, 5%, 10%, basta palagi nyo isipin, the moment na tumaas ang inflation, sure yan, temporary lang yan. Temporary yan. Kapag, ibig sabihin yan, eventually the government will always step in to lower that interest rate, that inflation. And anong pinaka-tool na gagawin nila dyan? Tataas nila yung interest rate. So guess what? Pag tinaas nila yung interest rate, mag-lock ka ngayon. Bumili ka ngayon ng fixed income kasi mataas ang interest. Kaya nga, paulit-ulit ako, tsaka si Marvin, na sinasabi ko sa inyo, bumili kayo ng fixed income. Ito yun. Kasi pag tumaas ang inflation, tinataas nila ang interest rate. Guess what? I-lock mo. Kasi pag bumaba na ang inflation, bababa rin ang interest rate. Kayo, ginagawa ninyo, nilalagay nyo sa time deposit. So pag bumaba na interest rate, hindi nyo na-take advantage. Pero pag bumili kayo ng bond, ang mga bonds long term. So guess what? Pag bumili ka ng bond at a high interest rate, you will enjoy that for a longer period. That's what you want. Kaya nga in any crisis, there's always danger and there's opportunity. Opportunity now is add bonds in your portfolio. It sounds boring. Kasi bonds is always perceived as low risk. That's not true. If you know how bonds work, you can do well. Okay? And take my word for it, add bonds in your portfolio. You will take advantage of that one. Maybe not this year, but definitely next year and onwards. Okay? Yeah.
Yan, well said, Sir Melvin. No? So talagang it's combining equities and fixed income so you can take advantage if bumaba rin yung interest rates. So next question, we have last four here. See, every time a new Fed chair comes in, stocks drop sharply in the first few months. Are we still in that danger window? Sige, Sir Marvin, would you like to give
Melvin
inputs?
yan.
Sige, Sir
Present
Melvin.
si Melvin to eh, di
3
ba?
months.
Okay.
3 months. So 3
3 months.
months, the average is 12%. The average is 12%, 3 months. So, kailan
Yeah.
ba siya pumasok? May, di ba? O June, July, August. O tatlo. Meron pang isang buwan. Isang buwan. Eksakto ghost month. Eksakto ghost month. So, kasama yan sa bagsak. Guess what? 3 months, di ba? O, di, alam mo palang 3 months, di ba? O, di, pagpasok ng August, o, di magsimula ka na. Kasi alam mo, by history, bumabagsak siya for 3 months eh. O, eksakto patapos ng August. O, di, tansyahan mo na, unti-unti ka pumasok ng August.
Opportunity yan. Opportunity.
Diba, opportunity, again, danger and opportunity. Palaging danger and opportunity.
Okay, sige, next question. Thank you for, meron tayong participant from the Middle East and they really want to grow their wealth so they can eventually retire and comfortably back in the Philippines. So I noticed that there are funds that let you invest in dollars or pesos. Are there any differences? What are the advantages and disadvantages? Sige, Sir Marvin.
Yeah, of course. We invest in ang sa COL kasi you invest in pesos. But the underlying ay other meaning kung saan siya nag-invest are either dollars or pesos. So, ang difference nun really is the exchange rate, di ba? Pagka humina ang peso, you get more pesos and strengthen yung dollar, you get more pesos. So, you get the advantage of earning more in pesos pagka nag-invest ka sa dollars. Ang disadvantage naman is that pagka humina naman yung dollar, tapos lumakas yung peso, pabaliktad naman yun. It's really in the exchange rate ka tatamaan. Do sa galaw na yan. Number one is really the exchange rate. But I guess the advantage in the dollar side is it's global. Global yun. You're more diversified in the world. You can invest in different other countries, even in China, even in Asia. So yun ang advantage talaga nun. So magandang mag-invest ka globally through these different funds that we have. Ritz, thank you for that question.
All right. Sige, next question please. Thanks for the 700 plus participants. May announcement pa tayo, no? So thanks for staying. When investing in a fund like the new Manulife Semicon, how much of your conviction should come from the theme itself over performance versus your confidence in the fund manager to choose the right stocks? Sir Marvin?
Yeah, fortunately, I interviewed the fund manager about last week, Carlo.
Yes,
Galing
yes,
nila,
sir.
ang galing nila. How much your conviction should come from the theme itself? I have high conviction on the theme itself for as long as the AI spend is there. They will continue to invest in semicon. And wala pa yung mga robotics. Wala pa yung mga other things that will need semicon as well in the application of the AI. Marami pa yan, mahaba-haba pa yan. So the performance-wise, it's going to be good, but it's going to be volatile as well. So huwag kayong matakot kung may volatility, just hold it for the long term. The fund manager, we met personally via Zoom. They're in Boston. I interviewed them and they choose it very well, very properly. And they have 30 years of experience. We're very, very much confident in the way they manage it. But a caveat lang, syempre, Semicon is a high volatile stock fund. So it can be going up and down fast, and just don't be scared. Just ride through it and hold it for the long term because mahaba pa yung kwentong yan.
Yes, Sir Marvin. Kaya maganda rin, sir, no, na may portion ka lang of your portfolio that can be allocated in this type of fund. Let's say, for example, 5% out of your 100% kasi nga mataas yung volatility while you're participating in the opportunity in the long run. So we're down into our last question. Ito na, no? Flash natin yung last question here. I'm curious, just curious, some local funds like BPI Infrastructure and Phil Equity Dividend have outperformed CSG this year. Why is CSG still your pick? Ayan, Sir Marvin?
Yeah, oo. It's good naman to diversify, no? Kasi the reason why we like CSG is really more active. As you can see, the BPI infrastructure is just in the infrastructure. The Phil Equity is just in high dividend. Ang CSG kasi is more flexible. Nag-i-invest rin siya sa fixed income, nag-i-invest rin siya sa growth stocks, nag-i-invest siya sa different investment. That's why we like it over your investment for the long term. Yep.
Okay, sige. Siguro before I
Yeah,
proceed
and ang
with
advantage niyan,
Sir
all
Melvin, go
the
ahead.
funds that you mentioned can be accessed in CON platform.
Yep. All
All
right.
right, sige. So actually, we answered all the questions na Sir Melvin and Sir Marvin, but we have one more announcement lang for our participants who are here, 740 plus participants. We actually launched this afternoon our direct access to your fund portfolio. So kanina marami nagtatanong how they can participate, how they can buy the global funds. So you can now directly access your fund portfolio through the COL FundSource website. So we're flashing it here on your screen. So if you're a COL client, instead of going into your usual login, clicking the fund source tab, you can go here directly, scan this QR code, or type funds.callfinancial.com. So you can now see the global funds mentioned by Sir Marvin and connect it with the insights of Sir Melvin so you can build a diversified local and global portfolio. So our commitment with our clients is to really guide them. So kanina nabanggit ni Sir Melvin, meron tayong COL Wealth Specialist, and on a regular basis, we have our quarterly outlook written by our analyst and reviewed by Sir Marvin. So we can help you in your journey. So watch out for more. And we are flashing here also in the next slide your access to our investment hub. So if you have time later on or tomorrow, you can see our fund picks, yung mga binanggit ni Sir Marvin kanina. And we will also post here our replay and any reports about our funds outlook and global themes that can help you, no? So yung mga binanggit kanina na Sun Life World Equity, Manulife Asia Best Select, BPI US, BPI Global Bond Income, nandito lahat yon, and it will be your guide so you can execute. Kasi in every seminar, Sir Melvin, Sir Marvin, no, gusto natin hindi lang tayo maka-attend but to really execute the insights moving forward. And we will have this again in the next quarter. So this is quarterly already, and we're very thankful, you know, for the more than 1,000 participants. And as we wrap up our program, we hope you found this session helpful as you plan your investments. And thank you again for joining us, and see you in our next Global Market Outlook.